welcome back. Thank you for joining me tonight. This is going to be a Pick a Pile love reading for April 9 and 10 of 2021. So as you can see, I have 7 decks here ready to create 3 piles for you so that we can get some guidance for you on your love life. Okay, let's begin. I will speed this part up so that you don't have to watch me make the piles in real time. Okay, see you in a sec. Okay, crystal time. Tiger's Eye, Quartz, and Rose Quartz. Okay, so pile 1 is going to be the Rose Quartz, pile 2 will be the Clear Quartz, and pile 3 will be the Tiger's Eye. Okay, so if you chose pile number 1, this is your reading. Pile 1, you received the Rose Quartz. I'll interpret that for you after. Let's get your cards out first and see what you got here for your love reading. Okay, let's have a look here. Okay, so pile 1, what I can see here for you is that you're in a situation where you're feeling, I'm sorry to say, but you're feeling trapped. Okay, and this is a love reading, so that tells me that the relationship, if you're in a relationship right now, or if you're not in a relationship, but maybe interested in someone, it seems like you're feeling trapped when it comes to love. When it comes to love, you are feeling like all roads lead to the same old outcome. And it's sort of the energy of no matter what I do, it's going to be the same. No matter who I'm with, it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same. It's going to be the same. And if you're with someone now, if you're not single, you could be feeling trapped in the relationship, that the relationship is, you know, not going to change. It's going to stay the way it is. And I feel trapped. Okay. Now, the oracle message you received here says you want a person who comes into your life by accident, but stays on purpose. So that's an interesting message to receive. So if you were single and you receive this message, this would be encouraging you to, you know, take chance with love, you know, open the doors to love, but make sure whoever you let in, you know, wants to be there and you want them there. Now, if you're in a relationship, this could be interpreted that the individual that you're currently in a relationship with, you're having feelings that, you know, make you wonder if this person wants to be there or not. And that, you know, the fact that the card talks about purpose suggests that potentially if you're in a relationship, the individual with you, you may feel like they're not putting in an effort. You may feel like, you know, yeah, okay, we're together, but in order to stay together, we have to put in an effort, and there has to be a meaningful contribution there. Okay, now, so the third card you received is the Three of Cups. So the Three of Cups suggests a time where you really are relying on your soul tribe. So what this tells me with the context of your relationship is that you're talking to your friends about it. You're looking for support. You're reaching out. You are reaching out to try and make a connection because you're really feeling trapped. Like, let's not forget, you're reaching out because you feel trapped. And so, you're reaching out. You're looking to make a connection because you feel trapped. Now, again, if you're single and this is resonating for you, you could be in a situation where, you're talking to your friends about how you're feeling about love. You're talking to people about it. So the Three of Cups really signifies loving connections with people that you're speaking to about whatever it is you're going through. Now, the next card that you received is the Never-Ending Story Oracle card. This card is really about self-criticism. It's about a wounded ego, and it's really about unnecessary drama. Okay, so the Never-Ending Story really makes you think about, what are the stories you keep telling yourself? What are the stories you keep telling yourself about love? The stories have you trapped, for sure. It could be the relationship feels like it's got you trapped, but it could just be your perspective that's trapping you. So the stories we tell ourselves are being called into question here. So that actually is very interesting when you put it with the Three of Cups, because it makes me wonder, what stories are you telling your friends about this? How are you painting this picture to people? It's interesting. Are you putting yourself down a lot? Are you telling the story like, I deserved it? I don't deserve love. It never works out for me, so it must mean that I don't deserve love. Are you telling yourself stories like that? Because if you are, then I hate to say it, because it's the last thing you need to hear. But if you keep telling yourself that, you're really telling the universe instructions. You're telling the universe instructions. You're giving instructions that the universe has no choice but to prove you right. So, this never-ending story really makes me think that you need to look at the story you're telling yourself. What is this story you're telling yourself? Sometimes, this card can really signify that, that idea that, what do we deserve? What is our worth? What is our self-worth? How do you feel about yourself? You're not the story you're telling yourself, but you will create whatever you tell yourself into reality. So it's important to have care when we have these narratives to ourselves, when we talk about our tale with others, and because that really does paint a picture of how we want people to treat us as well. Now, the other card you received here from Oracle is the Power of Purpose. Now, this card is really about seeing your unique place in the world and celebrating your uniqueness. That is the story you need to be telling yourself. You need to start talking to yourself, not about this never-ending story. Enough about that. You need to start telling yourself the story of the power of your purpose. That you don't need to keep telling the story of being trapped. You're not trapped. The interesting thing about this card, sorry, everything's falling again. The interesting thing about this card is that you're only trapped because you're lost in mental thought that's not helping you get out of this net. And really, it could be because the way you're telling the story to others, it could be the way you're telling the story to yourself, but certainly there needs to be an inclusion in your storyline that talks about your power and your purpose, and that, we all have special, unique gifts, and there comes a time where you have to realize that you're destined for something that only you can do with your special set of unique skills. And that applies in relationships because there's no reason to settle. You don't need to tell the story of no one's ever going to want to be with someone like me, and I'm lucky that this person wants to be with me because, I'm so different than anybody else. And if you tell the story like it's a negative thing, then you're going to start to feel it like it's a negative thing. Now, the other card you received here, because it's 7 cards, is the Wheel of Fortune. Now, the Wheel of Fortune definitely suggests a sudden shift. Something is changing. So if you're in a relationship, this relationship could be changing. If you're not in a relationship, you could be getting into a relationship. Something is shifting for you. So depending on where you're at in relationship, in love, you need to watch for something shifting here. So it's interesting because you're really being called to look at your own personal power in the face of feeling trapped and in the face of a shift coming up. You're also being reminded that when people come into your life by accident, that's beautiful, but they should stay on purpose. So that really does suggest that, the people that are sticking around in your life need to have a role bigger than just they showed up, right? Now, we also see that you do have some close friends. You do have a support network. There are people who care about you that you're talking to about this, but just be careful what story you're telling them and what story you're telling yourself, because it matters. It really matters. The power of your purpose needs to be included in that story as things change. Now, the final card you received from the beautiful Autumn Sky Oracle, there's the beautiful image. Oh, sorry, there's a shiny screen in the background. I hope you can see that. It's so beautiful. Now, this card, the message, I'll hold it here. It says levity. Trust your voice. Let go of inhibitions. You hold the key to your own freedom. You hold the key to your own freedom. Hello, trapped card. You're doing great. Open your heart and play. Remember the purpose, the power of your purpose, and certainly remember to play. Sometimes we forget that life doesn't have to be serious all the time. You do have the key to your own freedom here. You just need to watch the stories you're telling yourself, the stories you're telling others, the way you frame events, and the way you hold that story in your mind. It really does matter. It makes a difference. This never-ending story of you being not powerful and not in your purpose, there it is, not in your purpose, can change. You can change the story. You can flip the script. You don't have to stay trapped. If it is in the context of a relationship that you're in, is that person there on purpose? Is that the problem? Is that the thing that's making you feel trapped? Because, without making light of it, relationships can end. It doesn't mean that you dislike the person. It just might mean that they're not the person for you. And you are an evolving work of art. You are a work in progress. And the Wheel of Fortune is coming to change things, whether you like it or not. Maybe you will like it. Maybe this change is going to help you feel more free. So that could be very exciting for you, Pile 1. Okay, now the stone you received is the Rose Quartz, which is one of the most powerful stones you can utilize in your hope to open your heart and to enrich your life with love and compassion. It is a beautiful stone for that. It is very, very energetic, and Rose Quartz really does open up your heart and show you the purity and innocence of real love, and that it is conditionless and there are no bounds. And, love is the vibration of all emotions. It contains the frequencies of all emotion. And you can choose to be a low vibration of love and exist sort of in the realms of fear and doubt and not speaking your truth, or you can dwell in the higher vibrations of love, where you do trust your voice, you let go of your inhibitions, you play, you have fun, your heart is open, and you know you're doing great and that you're a unique work of art. Okay, pile 1, I hope that was helpful. If this reading has resonated with you and you would like a personal reading, my email is in the description below. Okay, take care, pile 1. Okay, if you selected pile number 2, this is your reading. So you have the quartz crystal. I will put it there and read it or interpret it for you after your reading. Okay, let's get your cards laid out. Another one. Wow. That's funny. We had Wheel of Fortune come up for pile 1. Okay. Okay, pile 2. You are in a situation where you are in regret. So pile number 2, if you're in a relationship, you're feeling bad about something. And pile 2, if you're single, you feel bad about something that has to do with a relationship. Okay, you're feeling regretful. Now, the oracle message you received here says, the more loving care you give yourself, the more love you have to give to others. So when you put that with regret, it's pretty clear that you're being too hard on yourself. Okay, so whatever you're doing, it's not productive. This mental exercise of regret that you're putting yourself through, it's not helpful. It's just going to make you feel bad about yourself. It's not actually even helping you learn about the situation that you went through. It's just keeping you in a situation where you're telling yourself a story that you screwed up, and that you know, that's the focus of the story, is that you screwed up and that you feel so bad about it. You have to change the story so that you see some love here for yourself, because you're not going to be able to give anyone any love if you don't give some to yourself. So whether or not you're in a relationship or not, pile 2, something that you feel bad about is preventing you from loving yourself. And in the realms of a love reading, if you can't love yourself truly, you won't be able to give love to anyone else. Now, I can see here that things are changing for you, pile 2. You received the Wheel of Fortune just like pile 1 did. So something sudden is coming to change. Now, if you're in a relationship, it could mean there's going to be a shift in that relationship. If you're not in a relationship, you might be entering into a relationship, or maybe a non-romantic relationship for you is about to shift into a romantic relationship. Perhaps a friendship is going to the next level. Or perhaps the relationship you're in is going to the next level. Maybe, you know, the person that you're with, you're feeling ready to marry them, and you're really concerned about something that happened, and you're having a hard time loving yourself as a result. Now, the other oracle message you received, remember this is 7 messages, is mending. Now, this card implies that there needs to be some sort of forgiveness. You need to forgive yourself for something, pile 2. Instead of feeling so bad about it, you need to start loving yourself and forgiving yourself in place of all of this regret, which is really making you feel so bad about yourself. You know, nothing stays as it is forever. That's the nice thing about life, is that it's always going to change. So you don't have to stay in regret forever, because it's going to change. Life is it's going to shift. All you're meant to do, the whole point, isn't to break you. It's just to wake you, right? You know, life isn't designed to break you. It's designed to show you who you are and to teach you things so that you can evolve. It's never meant to keep you in a state of regret for too long, or for at all. I mean, if you feel regret, you should feel it. You know, you have to feel your feelings, but you don't need to stay here. You don't need to stay here. You can mend. You can heal. You can love yourself. Life is going to change. This too shall pass, you know, is coming to mind. There are memories, echoes, and whispers that go through our minds of past resentments and arguments that we rehearse over and over in our minds, and we just got to let it go. You've got to let that stuff go and forgive yourself, forgive the other people. You've got to add love, right? You have to have love and forgiveness in order to mend, because everything's going to change in the end anyway. So nothing is constant. We are constantly changing. So, pile 2, it's interesting. The next oracle card, it's right in line with all these other messages, is body and soul. You need to take care of yourself. This regret that you feel is all consuming. You are consumed with regret, and you don't, you know what, you don't deserve it. I don't care what happened. I don't care what happened. All I know is that you can learn from it and evolve. This is not going to serve you. You need to take care of the self and your body in specific. I'm getting the idea here that maybe you're not sleeping, maybe you're not eating, maybe you're not taking care of yourself. So you have to take care of the physical body. I see pain here, mental pain, and then it's spilling over into how you're taking care of yourself. Now, you are being guided here with the 5 of fire, 5 of wands, where you have to battle this dragon. You've got to get up. You got to get up, even in the face of things going wrong, in your mind if they're going wrong, or even in the sense of some limits that you feel, maybe emotional limits because you're having a hard time letting go of this regret. But it's time to fight the dragon. Okay, now you have to watch out for falling into depression or a bad mood about this. I'm getting the sense that maybe a relationship may have ended. Maybe a relationship ended, and it was one that you feel ended because of something you did or didn't do, and you're having a really hard time loving yourself again as a result. But you've got to get up. You got to get up and fight again. You got to fight for yourself. You've got to make sure that you retain some objectivity when it comes to the story you're telling yourself. You're going to need to take care. This body and soul card is one that suggests rest, physical rest, good food, trying to just nurture the body. For the soul, like add love, add forgiveness, add compassion, and give yourself time, because it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle for you, pile 2. Now, the final oracle message, here's the art from our lovely autumn sky deck. Sorry, you can see the reflection in the camera. There you go. Now, here is the message. It says contemplation, which certainly goes with the body and soul. Practice mindfulness. Don't jump to conclusions. Remember your spirit's mission. Allow things to shift naturally and be patient. Allow things to shift naturally. The Wheel of Fortune. Everything is shifting for you, pile 2, whether the relationship is coming to an end or whether it's evolving. The shift has to take place within you first. You need to see that you can get up. You can release this regret. You can love yourself again, and you can care for yourself, right? You can take care of your body and your soul and release this regret and fight off this depression that you could be hanging in the grips of, okay? Nothing lasts forever, not even the bad stuff, okay? So the experiences that hurt pass. The experiences that bring us joy also pass. Life is all about these cyclical changes that we go through, okay? So you don't have to carry any sort of self-limiting beliefs on your journey through this experience. You can release that, and you can love yourself. Now, you received the clear quartz crystal here. This is actually a phantom quartz sphere. So it's really designed to show illusions. This quartz is really designed to help you see clearly through illusions and to understand the truth. This autumn sky card talks about remembering your spirit's mission. And it makes me really think that it's important to remind you tonight that even the hard things that we go through are designed to teach us things. Everything we go through is designed to teach us who we are. That is literally the whole point of the reason we're here. And so when stuff is challenging and when stuff hurts and when we feel change is going to be very difficult to manage, and there may be dragons to battle, just remember that that's why you're here. You're here to do this stuff, to learn about who you are, and then move on to other stuff, you know, without getting stuck. Okay, pile 2, if this reading resonated for you and you'd like a personal reading, please do contact me. My email is in the description box below. Okay, if you selected pile 3, this is your reading. You received the Tiger Eye sphere, which I'll interpret for you at the end of the reading. Let's get your cards laid out. Okay, pile number 3. Okay, so it seems like for your love reading, pile 3, you're in a situation where you are in unity. You are in unity. So you are in a relationship right now. Okay, you are in some kind of unity right now. And right now, the oracle message for you says everything you need, your courage, strength, compassion, and love, everything you need is already within you. So this is interesting. This is very interesting so far. Now, you also received the Moon card. Ooh, let's move these over. There we go. That's better. Okay, so you also received the Moon card. Now, we know that the moon can be a time of confusion. Okay, so you could be in a relationship right now and you're feeling confused. You're feeling uncertain. You know, you could be in the grips of clinging to something and also at the same time wondering if you should just let it go. You're feeling suddenly that, you know, there's a sense of you that's shifting. There's a sense of you that's changing. It's almost like your ego has dissolved. You know, it's almost like you're in a relationship and you've changed. You've changed. So you're in a relationship and suddenly, you know, you're not the same person anymore. Like the moon has come to say to you, yes, all these things that you're feeling on the inside, your intuition speaking to you, you know, this sense of uncertainty and mystery around you, it's true. You've changed. You've changed. Oops. And, you know, the oracle message is saying everything you need is still right here within you, but yes, you've changed. And you're in a relationship. So that's going to be interesting. We'll see. Let's keep going here. Now, you also received the oracle of the Thinker, which is a really nice card. But it does suggest that you're in your head too much. You're being really logical and analytical about all these changes you're going through, and it's not necessarily the path that's going to help you understand what you're going through, okay, and who you're becoming. This thinker is really good at logic and analyzing things. But this is not a strategic matter that requires analysis. This is about, you know, discovering who you are now. I'm sort of feeling that maybe you've had like some sort of spiritual awakening. Maybe you've discovered that you have intuitive gifts and that you want to start expressing them, and you're not sure how your partner in this relationship that you're in is going to take it. You know, it's almost like you feel like calculated action is required, but really, it seems like the direction that Spirit would like you to think about taking instead is using that intuitive ability to understand this. So it's not logic that's going to sort of help you understand this. It's really going to be your empathic abilities to be sensitive to the energies around you. Okay, so feeling the world really suggests a heightened perception, a heightened awareness. Combine that with the Moon card. I'm really thinking that you've woken up. You've headed into a spiritual awakening, and you're changed. You are a different person than you were before, and it might be a shift that happened to you suddenly. You know, you could maybe it started by you just feeling off, or you're feeling drained when you're in large groups of people, and you know, maybe your partner's sort of wondering if you're okay and how come you want to spend so much time at home. And I mean, we're all at home, but like maybe you really just like being at home. Maybe this whole pandemic thing has awoken you. Maybe being at home, you have realized things about yourself. Regardless, you are being asked to be aware of how your words and actions will affect other people right now, and that it's not your job to determine how other people respond or react to you. So, you know, if you make a proclamation in this relationship and say, listen, I'm a new person, I have shifted, I have things I want to talk about and things I want to say about things that I'm feeling, and your partner's not receptive to it, it's not really your job to make sure that they're receptive to it. And keep in mind that people pleasing really doesn't do anything but put you in self-sacrifice. And so that's not going to serve you in the slightest. If you're not serving others through compassion, and a real desire to serve others, then it can just be doing it through obligation, and that becomes people pleasing, which isn't that's not serving you or the other people, because you're not really doing it because you want to, right? So this card is really asking you to be true to yourself when it comes to that. Now, the other tarot card you received here is the Seven of Air, which is the Seven of Swords. Now, the Seven of Swords really talks about a time where you do need to be sort of diplomatic. Like this card did say, watch the things you say and how you express yourself. This card is also talking about that. It's also talking about being diplomatic and, deciding about authenticity. This is really interesting in the landscape of this love reading, because the Seven of Swords really does want you to consider the line between being authentic and inauthentic. Are you going to have conversations that end in compromise, or are you going to stand in your authenticity without wavering? It's up to you. It depends. It seems like you are in unity right now, though. So it is going to be a concern that comes up for you with respect to what you do with this relationship now that you've experienced an awakening. Now, it's interesting here because the final oracle card that you received here from the Autumn Sky deck, let me just move some of these cards so that you can see it. It's the Fertility card. And it says, explore creativity, act on inspiration. Your thoughts become form. Okay, manifest with intention and free your imagination. So that really tells me that you need to watch the story you're telling yourself. You do need to be authentic. Okay, diplomacy might not be worth sacrificing who you are. And as we can see, is you're in a time of transition, of uncertainty. Your intuition is very high right now. Your level of awareness has shifted. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on here, and the question of the day is, what are you going to do about it in this relationship? You know, are you going to be diplomatic and maybe compromise and, you know, walk that fine line of people pleasing? Or are you going to act on inspiration like the Moon card wants you to, and this beautiful Oracle card? I didn't even show you the picture. Right? It's stunning. Beautiful art. You know, you're also being reminded that everything you need, your courage, strength, compassion, and love, everything you need is already within you. So, you know, I know you're in unity right now, but I think what I'm sensing here for you, pile 3, is that you're going to have a choice to make. You're going to be stepping into a bit of uncertainty here in this relationship because of this transition that you've gone through. And it doesn't mean that the relationship has to end, but you're going to have to find a way to be you're going to have to find a way to be authentic and not to feel false. The 7 of Swords, there is a temptation to just be false, to be tactful, right? Like there's a temptation to just say what you need to say in order to end the conflict. But, you know, you're a thinker. You know logic isn't going to be the way out of this anyway. You know you have to use your intuition. So even if you think about that logically, if you leave your intuition out of it for a second and you think about the people-pleasing plan logically, it's not sustainable, right? It won't be sustainable. So you're going to have to find a way to act on your inspiration and use your intention and imagination to create a situation where you're authentic. And then, you know, hopefully you can stay in unity, or maybe it will shift into a union with a different person, or maybe the union itself will shift into one that's more, you know, conditionless, and that the love is as is, so people can change and evolve and still be loved, right? And that people can express themselves and act on inspiration without being judged and, you know, not loved, which is, I think, your fear. I think you're afraid that if you're honest about this, you're not going to be loved anymore. Now, the crystal you received here is the tiger's eye, which is a magical crystal. I find it so fun to stare at. I don't think you can really see how amazing it is on the camera, but look at that. It looks like an eye. I love it. Anyway, this crystal is really good for intuition and attuning your psychic abilities and understanding different perceptions. Tiger's eye is really, really good at helping you shift your perceptions and see things in a more, I always think a more curious way. It gives you a different eye. You know, it really helps you see things in a different way, which you may require because right now I think you've written the story in your mind as being a dead end, in the sense that I'm getting the feeling that, you know, you think if you're honest with your partner about these new thoughts you're having, that they're going to judge you. And maybe that's just because that's the story you keep telling yourself. So maybe there's another story that you can formulate and not be too attached to the outcome if possible, so that, you know, you're acting authentically with love and compassion. You know, you don't have to become angry to make a point. You can communicate your point calmly and speak your truth when you don't feel triggered by, you know, fear. Basically, that's what I'm getting here, is that you're afraid to open up because you think that maybe the relationship you're in will end or change. And you know, it's interesting. You could be single in this reading too, pile 3, and you could be worried how the world will see you once you show them who you've become. So this reading, this pile 3 reading, could still be for you if you're single. But you know, don't force it. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. But if this reading has resonated for you and you would like a personal reading to shed some more light on it, please don't hesitate to contact me. My email is in the description below. Thank you so much for joining me tonight for this pick-a-pile style love reading. I hope that the guidance was helpful, and if you would like a personal reading, please don't hesitate to contact me. My email is in the description below. Okay, thank you so much, and we'll see you again for another reading very soon. Have a good evening.